Can you just tell me a little bit about your time and your experience? I'm just playing with mine.
I've driven approximately 2.5, almost 3 million miles accident-free without a ticket.
All right, fantastic. And I know you're the national spokesperson for this movement today. Tell me a little bit more about that exactly. The name of your group, the cause behind it, what's the background?
I'm a member of ELD or Me. It's a group that we're funded on the principles of the ELD, the electronic logging device, is going to infringe on our constitutional rights. It's going to cause adverse safety effects, economic impact, and national security issues. And the government's not talking about it or letting the public know what's going on. So we assembled people across the country today to do this.
All right, so I've been kind of following some of these groups. We're talking about there are 3 or 4 particular groups all working together. You guys have thousands of groups like this at truck stops or at city halls and at places where they can kind of come out in the public eye and say, look, this is something that's going on, it's affecting our industry all across America. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like trying to get everyone together to generate this voice so that you guys can be heard.
Well, most of the owner-operators, it was fairly easy to organize people in one direction. Unity like this has not been accomplished since the 70s. When you've got these kind of protests going on from Maine to California and everywhere in between, that's unification. And if I were sitting back at home and I was looking at this today, I'd be a little concerned that America's truck drivers have found their voice. And the public needs to pay close attention to these news reports across the country, because the information we're providing today affects not just us, it affects them.
Let's talk about that effect. I was kind of speaking to you before we started this interview, and one thing that was said, 9 out of 10 people know someone personally who attaches them or that is impacted by the trucking industry, whether it's someone that is a truck driver, someone who knows someone that's a truck driver, whether you're going to a store to buy goods that are delivered by truck drivers. So this is something that the fabric of our society kind of depends on what you guys do. Exactly. So talking about the way that it's been done, for years and years versus the new way, kind of run me through how it goes now with the paper logs or whatever logging system is typical now versus what they're asking you guys.
The electronic logging device is a problem because A, it does store sensitive information, okay? It also tracks every move we make. They can't track a criminal, they can't track a rapist or a pedophile without a warrant, and they're trying to treat America's truck drivers like we're common criminals. That's the first problem we have, is what right do they have to make people who own their own property install this device and pay for this device because the government mandates it. The government has 0 statistics to say that this is going to increase safety. I want to make that clear, 0. They tout numbers around like it's going to save 26 lives a year. Well, 10,600 people die in alcohol-related car crashes. Let's put a breathalyzer in everybody's car, every single car in America, and see how the public likes that. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't like it, because what? It's an intrusion upon their privacy. It's their right not to be tracked or be self-incriminated. It's our right too. We're no different than them. The electronic log also runs on a 14-hour clock. See, the hours of service are the biggest problem with the electronic logging device. Okay? They're flawed. How can you put a 14-hour clock on a machine on the dashboard of an 80,000-pound vehicle and tell people they have 14 hours to do their job? You have 1/2 hour break that the government mandates we have to take within 8 hours. But during that time, it's still 14 hours, right? So we're working 14 hours a day with a 1/2 hour break. And if we don't utilize our 11 hours of driving time, we don't make money. So naturally, that's going to cause a driver to do what? Speed up a little bit, try to stay ahead of the clock, keep looking at the clock. I got 2 hours left. Now you're towards the end of the day. Where are you going to park? The parking in this country for commercial vehicles is minute. It's very hard. And people, when they drive by, they wonder why the trucks are all lined up on ramps and the rest areas. They're out on the road and they're like, oh my God, It's because there's no place for us to park. So with this new law in the ELD, and everybody generally starts their day between 5:30 in the morning and 7 in the morning to make deliveries in the morning and mid-afternoon. You do realize that all these guys are going to run out of hours at the same time every day now across the country. We can't avoid congestion, which is going to make traffic in big cities worse, because now the guys that used to park, used to get off the road and let traffic die and take a nap to get refreshed and rested, they can't do that. So we're going to be right there during rush hour. Trucks everywhere. Why? Because the FMCSA and the federal government say we need to be in there at the wrong times of the day. So racing the clock, that's a huge safety issue. And we're not doing it because we want to do it. If we don't do as much as we can, as quickly as we can, we don't feed our families and the freight doesn't make it. Because now you got big corporations want to fine trucking companies for being 2 hours late with a delivery to a distribution center. Again, this is all focused around big money and mega carriers, the trucks with 500 fleets or more. They want to push the little guy out of business by limiting, look, the hours of service are this simple. What that does is it takes a truck out of revenue. That's the whole thing behind it. When a truck isn't moving, the truck is removed from revenue. They're not producing money, they're not delivering freight. The big fleets can compete that way because they have thousands of unskilled drivers that they can just say, sit behind the seat, go do this, make it here. You don't even have to be qualified or skilled. They send them to school for 2 weeks, put them out with a trainer who just got his license 3 months ago, thinking that this is the way that we're going to safely train these people to do the job. It's simple. The whole system is flawed. The FMCSA has not done its job in protecting the American people or the American truck drivers. They have not done their job. There are a litany of problems, and I can't even begin to go where the problems start.
So we're talking about this mandate. Everything that you pointed out kind of illustrates that it's not only a double-edged sword, but maybe even triple-edged, because we're talking about safety being the reason behind this. But talk to me about being a truck driver like yourself. You have to use the electronic logging device. Comes to the end of the day, and there's nowhere safe for you to stop. Suddenly you're stranded in an area you're not familiar with, in an area that might not be safe for you to stop for the night with your cargo, or maybe you have a medical emergency. You can't move. So tell me about that.
My wife worries constantly because, like you said, it's just it. What if you get stuck in the Bronx and you're stuck in traffic and now you've eaten up 3.5 hours trying to get across 95? You clear the city, there's no place to park. So even if you get off on many of the truck drivers people know Gun Hill Road or some of the places in the Bronx, you're not safe. You're a target. You know, people know we have money. They know we have valuable goods. We become a target. I personally sacrifice an hour to 2 hours of my day at the end of the day because I park the first available place I can find, because I know if I go much further, I am not going to have a safe place to park that's well lit, where there's services, showers, food. And that's the thing. Some of these guys can't even find a place to take a shower or eat a good meal because they run out of hours somewhere where none of these services are available. How would you like to have to try to find a place to take a shower after you've been out chaining down a load of steel, you're covered in grease, you're dirty, and you want to lay your head down? Would you want to crawl into your bed like that at home? I don't. But you know what? I got to carry baby wipes because the company says, this is where you are. Hey, oh well. So I got to take a bath with baby wipes like I'm a child.
All right, so my last question for you. Today is about getting the attention of one person in particular. You told me about, you guys are trying to reach President Trump to let him know this is something that's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt the working man, the working class, your families, anyone involved in the owner-operator side of this industry. So just a message, whether it be to Trump or to the other truckers out there that you know that aren't on board yet. Well, why is this so important, and why are you guys out here? Just to wrap it all up.
Very simply this, I am the national spokesman. I do speak for my drivers. I've given permission to speak for them. We want President Trump to understand, he promised us when he got elected he was going to drain the swamp. He was going to do away with regulations that invaded upon our privacy and our businesses, and we're going to harm us. He promised us this. We've reached out every way you know, Twitter, emails, going on regulation websites and making comments. He's ignored us. He has the ability, and Congressman Brian Babin from Texas sponsored that bill and has begged for both sides to come together and help the American truck driver. President Trump is the only one that can sign an executive order to delay this until studies can be done to help us. What they're using is using mythical numbers, and they're floating around lies to promote their agenda. We need his help. He promised us he would. I can tell you right now, these peaceful things that are going on from Maine to California, we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to follow the process. He needs to listen and sign the order and help us, because this right here is the least amount of discomfort we can cause to the nation if he doesn't step up and if Congress doesn't listen. We're going to take a knee. And unlike the National Football League, if we take a knee, game over.
So I do have one more wrap-up question for you. I know it's about the last one, but we're talking about, you know, asking for them to kind of delay this, prolongate the process, to kind of look over this stuff and see if there's an amicable solution for both sides. And if that doesn't happen, if there does become a point where the way that this industry works on the owner-operator side is disrupted, what do you think that means for people? Well, what are people going to start to see?
Stuff's going to start to cost them a lot of money, because remember, if the mega fleets can have control and have things their way, we already know, regardless of whether they have control or not, and they push us out, freight rates are going to go up. It's going to cost more to ship stuff. It's going to cost consumers more. But if you take competition out of the market and you take away these guys that are dependable, and then remember, the big fleets only control that much of the market, 20%, 25%. The rest is moved by these guys that are here and out here across the country today. If they take us out of the picture, things aren't going to get where they need to be on time. There's going to be a backlog in getting baby formula, diapers, toilet paper, cereal, because these guys are the ones moving the freight. And if the rates go up, it costs $1 more for a gallon of milk. I don't know about you, but I can't afford another $1 for a gallon of milk or a box of cereal. But that's what's going to happen. They're going to set the rates where they want them to be profitable for them. Right now, they can't do that because there's competition in the marketplace. They get rid of that competition, they can set the rates where they want, how they want, and we all have to accept it. And that's just the way it is, like anything else.
Appreciate you so much, man.
I appreciate you, brother.